Hello, sorry, good evening. On day 50, we have passed the middle line of these 99 days. We're halfway, or actually, after today, more than halfway through. And to my surprise, I didn't talk about worrying yet. And I'll touch upon some other subjects, but I'll wait a few moments to see if anyone wants to join live. Kind of lost my voice. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to get started. Yes, today I want to talk about, or start with the subject of worrying. And we worry a lot. Not everyone does that, by the way, but a lot of people do. And especially when they have loved ones they don't want to lose, they are very attached to, very connected to, like husbands, parents, children, grandchildren, whatever it is. They spend so much time on worrying. And I had that big time in my life. And actually, it's such a waste of energy, such a waste of spending time on thinking that something might happen in the near future, or might have happened, what you're not aware of, because someone else is somewhere else, and someone is somewhere else, and you're worried about him or her being late, or that him or her might have an accident, or whatever the reason is you're worrying about. And the fact that you spend time of thinking about something that might happen, but you just don't know. So what's actually the use of thinking about it? Will it change the reality? Will it change the circumstance? Will it change the outcome? The actual worrying, will that change something? No, it does not. Well, or it does, but then it does in a negative way. You're actually focusing so much of what you are afraid that might happen, that you're actually directing your attention to the things that you don't want to have happen, and you're actually giving it a bigger chance to happen because you're focusing your attention on it. So let's give the example of a partner that doesn't come home on time, and you're worried he might have an accident, or you're worried he might spend time with someone else, like having an affair or something. And then your mind starts creating stories about what might have happened. And you can get caught up in that story for hours. But so what you're actually doing is putting all your intention on that what you don't want to happen. So instead of decreasing the chance that it will happen, you're actually increasing the chance that it will happen. So you have not only wasted your time thinking about it, but you also kind of increased the chance that it will happen. So worrying is absolutely so useless. I can't think of any benefit of worrying. I can't think of one. I can understand that you worry. I can understand that you have fears coming up. But then stop yourself in that moment and say, well, can I do anything now to change the situation? And most of the time there's a no. No, you can't do anything now. You can't get your partner home earlier because Apparently it's not in your control. So if you cannot change the situation, then you just have to surrender and trust it will be okay. And if it's not okay in the end, if that partner comes home or the accident does happen, then it's the time to act or to react to the circumstance. Then it's the time to show your emotion or to feel your emotion and deal with your emotion. But any moment before that moment that it actually is happening is just simply a waste of time. And some people are very strong in redirecting their thoughts and stop to worry, or they don't even start that, or they might have a thought and then they just are very very skilled and trained in just redirecting their thoughts into something positive. But some of us are very good and very skilled in creating huge story before anything happens. And I used to live with my ex-husband who traveled a lot. And he was not so good in communicating where he was or when he came home or whatever. So I spent a huge amount of time on worrying until I realized one day that it's just absolutely useless. It wouldn't change the outcome. It wouldn't get him home earlier, or it wouldn't give me any more information where he was. And I'm really talking about just the worrying that happens in your mind, the thoughts that keep coming up, the stories that you create all over again, and you make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and it only gets worse. And by the time that person comes home, or the event, or the time until that what you're worried about is actually in reality, the person comes home, or his whereabouts or her whereabouts, then actually, you have just created such a big story, it almost becomes a reality. And then you actually blame that reality, or you blame that story on that person you were worrying about. Then you get angry and frustrated why he came home so late, or why didn't he call, or she call, or why didn't she call, whomever it is. Because all the tension you have built up inside you, it kind of gets out and projected on the other person. And if there's no indication to worry, then or actually, what does it make you worry? Because there's a reason to worry. It's either frustration, or it's anger, or you miss information, or you had an expectation that isn't met by the other person. That's why you start worrying. And sometimes you are right. There's a good reason to worry, in the sense that there's a good reason why you're frustrated, or why you have reason to be angry with that person. But then try to postpone that, or stop that phase in between where you just simply don't know, and try to sit with it. And it's difficult. I still catch myself every now and then to fall for that trick and to get carried away with the mind. And I don't mean here the thinking you do about your narratives and your limiting beliefs or your lack beliefs or your fears. I'm really meaning here the examples in life where you worry about a child not coming home, or where you worry about an illness someone has and it might get worse, but you don't know yet. So I'm waiting for a result of the doctor. Even waiting for a result of the doctor, that phase in between, you just don't know. You don't know the result. So worrying about what it might be, thinking about what it might be, that thinking is just a waste of time and energy. Because you can think of all the scenarios, but it really doesn't change the outcome. You simply just don't know. So don't try to control yourself and be very strict with yourself. Find distraction if it's really difficult. And stop the worrying, even if it's very small and very tiny, if it's a tiny incident, or really become aware when you worry. So then there's this other thing that well, we're halfway through the program now, and I think we all have very clear what is. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm very distracted by the noise downstairs. I hope you don't hear that. Perhaps it helps if I put the other ear in. You can't hear it. Okay, let me get back. Oh yes, we're in halfway the program now. So by now you have a clear understanding. Well, not a clear understanding, but you at least have an idea where your fears are, where your big resistance is, what is difficult to change, what your challenges are. And now it's really, really time to be very, very strict with your thoughts. So to really stop the thinking and get back into the moment. Really stop every time you just get carried away with your thoughts, not even in meditation, or not just in meditation, but when you feel yourself drifting off, please pull yourself back and stop the thoughts and get yourself very focused on the now moment. And besides the practice of being in presence, you really need to focus to get into this now moment every time, again and again and again. And that practice on focus on the now becomes now really, really important. And the now is the same as presence. But the approach is different because it's just coming from your focus on your thoughts. So every time a thought comes up, either you think about something, and then you drift away in your story because you're not clear about something that we shared and you want to find an answer. Try not to overthink everything. Try just to trust that things will shift. And in due time, life will show you the answer. In other words, you cannot create the solution with your mind. You cannot find the solution there. You will find the solution out of nowhere. It will happen. And I've already addressed a session to this. And I really want to emphasize it again because we so easily forget, because we're so focused on finding solutions with the mind. But the things that you feel blocked in, or the things that you have lack beliefs about, or the things that you want to change, some of it you can practice with. But if there's still a question within you, like, I cannot move it, or I don't find the answer yet, or I want to know how to change this fear into trust, or I want to get rid of this lack belief, then if you're not working actively on a challenge, then just stop overthinking it. Stop finding solutions in the traditional way with your mind. Just ask yourself a question every now and then and just let it go then. And I know this is a frustrating period because you wanna move on. You're excited about your new insights and you wanna integrate them in your life. But we can't really control the speed. And there's so much already opened up within you. So there's so much already that's come to the surface. So life will show you the answers. And life will show you the new insights. And life will show you your challenges. Because if you have to deal with a challenge, like I'm dealing with this, learning this new language and being afraid to be laughed at, well, life shows me brilliantly new challenges. And then you can cope with it. And I even asked in one of my Facebook groups how to find a solution for dealing different with learning languages. So I want to solve it with my mind, and I want to kind of like reprogram my mind. And you can partly with affirmations. That's not done by the mind, obviously, but with the heart. It's coming from the heart. But if you're not really reprogramming yourself, then I couldn't get the answer in that Facebook group question I asked and the reactions I got. But then during the week that followed, because I asked that question, it just became clear to me because of a series of events that happened. And then it became clear to me that the fear underneath this all was really being laughed at. Was so clearly. I thought I had dealt with that. But it came up again. So we really have to trust that everything comes in due time when you're ready for it. When you unconsciously are ready for it. And we can't deal with all the things at once. And the focus helps, the intention helps to just focus on your heart desire, focus on your, and even if it feels, even if you don't really trust it, or someone just shared before we went live that he or she when kind of feels like this observing position in life, like it's not really part of it. And that's a phase that's very common when you're actually opening up to so many things and probably have done already so much work on it, and then you kind of really want to find the holy grail, like for yourself, like this purpose, this heart desire to kind of that the one that feels everything comes together. You want to find this solution. And then there is this phase before that just feels lost. I felt lost for a long time. I'd done so much work and I couldn't get clear what I was going to do. And I thought I had looked at everything within myself. I had literally thought I had done every process I could think of. And still it was not clear to me. And the answer that came in, or the insight that came from a totally unexpected angle, with an insight which was totally unexpected, which my mind couldn't have thought of. And it came in a timing I couldn't expect. But it never was answered by my mind exercises on what the solution will be. So it needs time. It really needs time. And while you're in this time, waiting kind of for the next phase to start, then be very, very, very direct with yourself, very honest with yourself about how your thought patterns go. So redirect yourself every time. Just go back to the now moment, stop the thinking. Go back to the now moment, stop the thinking. This is the now. Whatever phrase you like to tell yourself, repeat that every time. Again and again. And then just take a deep breath. And then you're here again. Because in this now moment, there this insight will come. But if you keep pulling yourself out of this now moment and you get into the mind cannot connect to presence. The mind cannot connect to what's actually happening. It pulls you out of it, so you literally don't give yourself space to hear it or to receive the answer. And it doesn't matter what the question is. Even when you are blocked with grief and sadness, then even that release or the insight of what is missing within you might come also unexpectedly. But you have to be present to be able to receive it. You have to be present to be able to even see it. You have to be present to notice it. You might have had already, like I might have had in the time I was waiting for this big insight, I might have had numerous insights from life I didn't pick up. I just simply don't know, obviously, because otherwise I would have caught it earlier. So like with the worrying, not to worry anymore about things that might happen in the future, could happen, might change your life. Just stop it. Just go back to what you're doing now. And take little steps. See what you can change now. Make little progresses. And connect with that now moment every time. And it's okay to be caught up with your job or with reading a book, or it's okay to have busy moments. And then you're full in the mind, probably. It's okay. We don't have time to meditate full time. But if you catch yourself lingering off, like going away with the thoughts, then you have to stop yourself and get back to the now moment. Every single chance you get, take that one. And of course, try to practice these meditations more often in any version you like. You don't have to sit on this pillow or on this chair. You can do it walking, you can do it cycling. You can do it in any time, and it's nothing more and nothing less than just being more focused on this presence, this now moment, and connect with your heart center. And just go into silence. So stop the thinking process, is just simply go into silence. And it takes time and it costs effort and it needs practice and all that. That's true. But like Mr. Schwarzenegger said, and I really love that video, just take an hour a day to change your whole life for the next 50 days. And you already took 50 days or 49 days. So and don't let the process go while it's now really in the phase where it can profoundly change. And when you're really frustrated, or when you're in this phase like, I really don't know how to do it anymore, or, oh my God, it's so much, that kind of phase, then you probably are shifting something soon. We need this friction to change. So be very cautious with your energy. Be very conscious with your energy, where you want to focus on. Don't waste too much time on things that won't help. If you want to relax and watch a movie, fine, then do it consciously at that moment. But then before and after that movie, choose something consciously. I'm losing my voice here. Um, and look at that worrying thing, please, because it's something also that people say, well, of course, I fully understand that you worry. Of course, I would worry too, and then we make the whole drama out of it. And then we feed each other with stories about what could have happened or what happened to another person. And honestly, when my children go out and they come home later than expected and they don't send a text message, then I just don't start worrying anymore. I just trust it will be okay. And if it won't be okay, then it's the time to act. But if I can't reach them, then I can't do anything. So I just trust. At least I don't want to put any negative energy towards that process. And you don't want to spoil your evening either. So the only moment when worrying is really difficult when you are caught up in a trigger by some painful event that reminds you of something, or you were already triggered by a story. And then it's difficult to step out of that thinking pattern. I still have that at times. So it doesn't have to be perfect at once, but just stop the worrying that is useless. And then come back with the story, yes, but my child, yes, but my partner, yes, but. I'm really talking about the time between you start thinking and the moment that you actually know what the reality is of that what you're worrying about. So be very conscious about where you put your energy in, because these processes that continue unconsciously within, because you're opening up now your whole system. And you're sensing more deeply, and you have awakened your fears and your limiting beliefs. That process costs a lot of energy. So you don't want to drain your energy more with just useless thinking. Besides the fact that it's really relevant to step into the now moment again and again and again, and as much as possible, because you want to get that information out of that now moment to move you forward, or to clear things, or to get clarity on things. It's also just very energy draining to use your thinking mind in that way so much. And I mean, of course, the chatter mind, the story mind. So be conscious about this energy, because you're vulnerable right now. You are kind of opening up your system, and that makes you vulnerable. And this vulnerability is beautiful and necessary, and needs to be nourished in a loving way. And then those thought patterns and not being focused on yourself now in this moment is a waste. So instead find things you can really nourish yourself with, things you really love to do, that are soft and kind to you, like going to the sauna or a massage or taking a bath or other relaxed time you can think of. Just be very kind and sweet to yourself. Okay. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you back tomorrow.